Hiya. Today I'm going to do a really simple hydrating makeup that's really great, in particular for dry skin. Or Carletta, you were asking me the other day for something that would be flattering on skin with fine lines and wrinkles, and this is the kind of thing that's just going to add lots of luminosity and glow. Now I'm going to start with the Murad Nutrient Charged Water Gel. Basically, if you find that you have maybe dry patches in your makeup, or if you're looking to reduce the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles within your makeup, I really recommend the likes of a moisturising gel like this, because say this gel, as you can see, it's kind of like, it is like a soft jelly texture. It's really densely hydrating, but it doesn't leave a thick residue on the skin. And what that means is you're getting all of that hydration that you need, but it doesn't sit or feel heavy or sit in any places that you don't want it to sit. So I've prepped all over with that. And then I'm going to take today, well, funnily enough, I'm running out of the tail end of 2cc creams. So I'm going to hope that there's enough in one. And if there isn't, go on to the other one. But this as well is quite a gel-like texture when it works into the skin, if I show you. And anything really hydrating like this is just gonna give a really soft finish look on the skin. There is a Dr. Justine, her surname escapes me and I will find it and I'll tag her in here. But basically, I remember I was sat next to her at a dinner years and years ago, and she does Botox. And she said, when people come to her and they want Botox, she said, look, if someone wants Botox, that's their decision. However, she will always say to them, just do me one thing before you have your Botox and try a different moisturiser to see if that, helps you feel a bit differently about your skin. And the other one, she was a real fan of NARS Sheer Glow Foundation. And she said, just do me a favour, try those things for a few weeks. And if you still want your Botox, I'm happy to do it for you. But I think you might feel differently once you've done that. And she said loads of the time people did. And do you know what? I think with things like that, hydration can be so key, and dehydration can instantly change how something looks. By all means, that's your decision and if that's something that you want to try. But I'm a big believer that a little injection of that other bit of moisture can make a big difference. I've barely used any of that, so I'm just going to take the excess off. What was I going to say to you? I was going to say something else about hydration. It will come to me, I can't remember. Powders, I'll come back to that. I'm going to go in with the rest of my complexion first. Another thing that I was discussing recently, Nat, you'd asked me for a bit of a run through of the difference between a cream or a powder contour. Now I'm going to show you today, first of all, a bit of cream. I really think if you're looking for glow and a nice fresh face, that creams are so flattering. And I'm going in with some of these Trinny stacks. I'm just taking the lids off. And first of all, I'm going to take the bronzer on the same brush that I did my base with. And I'm going in with, this is the shade Jensta. Now, what I would always do is go on the back of my hand first to take off any kind of excess that could be likely to, go a bit patchy or go on with a bit of a bang if I wasn't prepared for it. And I'm just going to first of all press this onto the complexion. The reason I'm pressing rather than rubbing, I'm sure we all saw that I'm quite red today. So I want to build up the colour without taking off what's already on underneath. As well, this is a really great option. If you are fair, this is Jensta from Trinny. I've noticed that this bronzer is especially nice for a fair skin. It's not too golden and it just gives you a natural looking bit of warmth. I was on a Trinny Zoom last week to just have a little recap of some of her products, and I've never met Trinny before, and it was the first time having a bit of time with her. And I honestly, like, I've always thought the products were lovely, but I just thought she was a really lovely lady. One of the things I asked her, which I loved the answer to, I was saying, because everything is creamy in her range. By the way, while I tell you this, I'm going to go in with a bit of cream blusher in Wiggs. I said, have you got a preferred powder that you set all of this in place with? And she said no. She said, after being on TV for years, through the day, all they do is powder you. And she said, by the end, you'd look and you wouldn't feel nice about your makeup. And for that reason, she said she avoids powders, but instead she loves, there was something from her range, I haven't tried it, it's a blurring product. And she said she uses that anywhere that she would usually get a bit oily, and it does the same thing without having to apply the powder. So I haven't personally tried that one, but it sounded brilliant. I'm going to go in with a little bit of highlighter. In fact, no, I'm not going to do that yet. What I was going to show you now is cream on its own, nice and luminous. If you wanted to, what I would say would be the main differences is a cream bronzer, A, looks and feels more luminous, and B, you've sometimes got the option to go a little bit smaller and more detailed with where you chisel that cream. Whereas if you were to just use a bronzing powder and maybe a larger brush, you can give a kind of all over quicker bronze or sculpt, if you like. Now, I just thought I'd show you the difference. I've got two contour products here, but lots of people do them. A contour product tends to be a bit cooler in undertone, and it can almost be a bit taupey because it's designed to mimic natural shadow in your skin. Whereas I personally would always just use a traditional bronzing powder, and that way you're adding warmth rather than that kind of hollow finish. Now, as I say, if you were going in with a really professional looking contour, the taupey colour would be brilliant, but I'm not trying to go in with anything professional because, quite frankly, I'm going to be sat at this desk at my living room all day. I just want a bit of glow. I've got a few zooms and things. Do you know what I've actually got later on, which I will tell you while I'm putting my eyebrows on? It Cosmetics has launched at Space NK, really exciting. So we've got a few zooms and things to just kind of kickstart the launch. And this Thursday, there's a free consumer one. I put a link up to it the other day, but I'll put it up again this evening. When I put this video up, I'll put it in the stories. But basically, you can join. It's a Zoom, so you just kind of hop on and work along with us. I'm just going to show you like some of the key Cosmetics things and talk you through them. It'll pretty much be exactly like this, but we can see each other and you can just ask things as you go along. Okay, brows are on. I'm going to go in with some mascara. I'm going to do the same and just speed up the mascara because it's not as relevant to the video as something else I want to show you. So stay with me. I'm going to speed it up and carry on. Okay, so if you're dry or you're trying to kind of bounce light away from fine lines and wrinkles, I definitely would still recommend going in with a highlighter. I think it gives the skin such a lovely glow. But what I would say is use your finger or a small brush. This is the Trinny Starlight. And let's just say this particular area, I think the cat's come. She's in and settled, I beg your pardon. Obviously the cat comes first. In this particular area, I would go for a plump part of the cheek that isn't right up by this eye. So you could almost aim for around here and just give the skin a lovely bit of radiance without it necessarily being right up where those tiny lines can sometimes be around the eyes. And this way you're adding luminosity to the cheeks without it gathering where you don't want it to gather. I'd also say not to underestimate the power of putting a little bit of highlighter on the brow bones. She's fine. A little bit on the brow bones, a little bit through the nose, and then a tiny bit on the Cupid's bow. And then powder-wise, if you like wearing powder, like I would always wear a bit of powder, and I'd always recommend that you put a tiny bit, especially in areas where your makeup is prone to disappearing. Don't feel like you've got to go everywhere, just go where you need it. I'm going to use this little triangular brush. This is from Givenchy. And literally, it's so small and precise that I can just work my way around that nose. It's the likes of in there that can look sweaty. And you want to make sure that you have made a distinction, that you've added the glow where you want it, but the intended look is glow and not sweat. And again, I'm just going to pack some of that into key areas and leave the rest super fresh. Now, I know that the whole point of this was more hydration, glow, where to put things, but just to finish things off, again, I know I'm a broken record. I saw a girl on TikTok with different colours on, and it was two colours I never would have put together. She went for a really vibrant poppy kind of colour and a brown liner. And let me just show you, I've worn it a few times since, and I think it's a really pretty combo. There we go. And you know what? The nice thing as well, when you go in with a bright lip, now that's where your eye goes to on my makeup. You're not really looking at the other things. Just put one wow moment in, whether it's your lipstick or a bright liner or a shadow, whatever, and it makes all the difference. I'm going to just really quickly, actually, that's such a nice colour, put a little bit into the cheeks so that they match. That feels better. There we go. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if there's anything in particular that you want to see a look on in the comments, and I'll work on it. And I'll chat to you soon.